You know, Helluva Boss has been a bit hit or miss for me the last few episodes. I like how the characters can be developed, and show that just because you're a demon, that doesn't mean you're just a heartless creature. On the other hand, it gets a bit too heavy-handed with the crass humor. Not that I'm against that sort of humor, mind you, but with everything, it should come in short doses. It's not that it's a bad thing, it's just something that tends to push more and more onto the viewer, and they can have an effect on me. Again, this is just a personal gripe. However, with the latest episode, I think it's fair that in that regard, the jokes have become a bit more practical and not so heavily reliant on crass humor. Which is nice. Sure, there's still a bit of that humor in there.
Fuck yeah, Moxxie! Ride it, Moxxie! Making that bitch you won't call back in the morning!
But I feel as though it's a bit more diversifying with the humor. At least a little. And it certainly is a bit more appealing to me than the last episode. But hey, personal taste aside, there's an interesting moral throughout this episode. One that I think that a lot of people should consider. Well, I suppose there are two interpretations for this moral, and I'll go through each of them. The first interpretation is that just because you're not good at something specific, that doesn't mean you're any less of a person. Sure, you may fail, but that doesn't mean you don't have your own strengths above other people. I think this is really well shown in Moxxie.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Throw in the fact that he's doing this in an attempt to prove to Millie's parents that he is worth their daughter's affection, it adds a lot of pressure for Moxxie to attempt to gain their admiration and approval. It's something that we see a lot of the time in the real world, and the way it's expressed here is really relatable. That being said, I'm getting a ton of flashbacks to one specific Futurama episode.
Oh, now they'll never think I'm manly enough to date their daughter.
You even got a supposed better man who's got a Western style and has a slightly higher level of Western swag? What the fuck is Western swag? Weird parallels aside, the episode does show how Moxxie getting into his own personal strengths, like using a gun and having the knowledge of weapons. Granted, it does fall a little flat when he, well, I wouldn't say he fails per se, but what would you call this?
Who's weak now, bitch? Okay, I'm here.
There is another interpretation of the message that I think is at least important to discuss in some capacity, and that's the expectation of manliness.
Old Spice body spray will make you feel so powerful to blow your mind right in front of your face! Goodbye. Oh no!
Also, cards on the table, I'm not a huge fan of talking about this kind of stuff, but this is so prevalent that I think it should be discussed in some manner or another in a video format. Take a look at Stryker. Stryker is typically what one thinks when it comes to the very sleek, stylish, cool individual. I mean, he certainly fits the part, and it's not hard to imagine that some people are quite taken with the character and his design.
Oh no, he's hot!
Certainly wouldn't surprise me if by the time I'm saying these words, there's a really salacious artwork of the guy out there on the net. Seems to be a given with this fan base. Not that I'm complaining. Meanwhile, you've got Moxxie, who, while he's got his own strength, he doesn't have the same kind of strengths that Stryker has, and it's been shown that the expectations for what can and can't be passable for men is something to expect in society nowadays. Now, I'm not saying that this is universal, or that I want to turn this entire video into a lecture of masculinity. So let's just say there are things that are expected of men in this regard, and that there's usually a singular way for men to be manly. Millie's parents show that in regards to Moxxie, and while it can be bad to some degree, they aren't fully in the wrong either for thinking this. After all, they just want the best man that can provide for their daughter. It's a simple desire that any parent would want. And as the episode shows,
we know you aren't making as much anymore since y'all went freelance.
Still, this is a bit of a bad mindset. Just because someone doesn't fit the stereotypical mold of being manly, that doesn't mean they don't have their own form of manliness. It's something that a lot of guys need to understand, that there's more than one path of being strong. And it's not necessarily through the means of stabbing, smoking, and basically wearing a slick outfit, and being a dick. Just like there's more than one way to become a man, or being manly.
Millie has the strength enough for both of us.
Are we done with that mushy, touchy-feely crap? Good. Let's talk about the fun aspects and the actual plot of the episode. I know that again, people love to go through the entire episodes and giving a play-by-play, but here at MangaKamen's channel, we don't roll that way for the sake of filling up content, because I respect your guys' time.
Kamen, isn't that exactly what you did in order to get to the 8-minute mark for this video?
Quiet, you. When it comes to this episode, not only do we get a look into the culture of Hell, but we also get to see some of the more fun aspects and see the festival going on. It's a nice change of pace to see different parts of Hell. I know we kinda got that in But it's more of a cultural aspect that does intrigue me to learn more about Hell's culture, and to see that there are a variety of different cultures is enjoyable as well. Really opens up the world and makes it breathe. For the actual plot, I already mentioned that it gave me vibes to an old Futurama episode.
All you ever do is complain. You never try to make things better.
And there's nothing wrong with that. After all, we live in an age where parts of media take influence from other parts of older media. Now, granted, I'm not saying this is what gave the inspiration for the episode. What kind of doofus would I have to be to do that? But no, the plot is quite strong, and I'd say it's probably one of my favorite episodes of the bunch as it is at this point. The jokes are on point, and while there are some things that did irk me, such as the damn animation errors, like seriously, what the hell was that? You know, now that I think about it, there were a bit more choppy parts to the animation this episode. I know what's going on here, but a lot more noticeable on my first run. Like, I'm not trying to be mean.
And you're failing.
But it's still something that caught my attention. Alright, moving on. There is one negative to the episode that I do feel the need to point out, and while I do consider it a negative to some degree, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of on the fence with it. Mainly because, while I consider it to be a negative, I still like what they went with, and yet I still hate it. Yes, I'm aware of how confusing that is, but please bear with me. Let's consider the main plot thread, where Stryker is hired to kill Stolas, and I gotta say, it's actually a pretty interesting concept. Sure, we've seen the imps in... Damn it. We've seen the imps trying to kidnap Stolas, but that was due to the fact that this kind of demon can't be killed by regular means apparently, and yet we're introduced to the fact that there are weapons that have been created that can kill these all-powerful demons. That's amazing! That's intriguing! That's something I would love to see more of and expanded upon in the show. Hell, I'm really curious to see who would want to put a hit on Stolas. Could it be a demon who wants to rise up in the ranks, or maybe has a way to become immortal as well? Maybe there's something more to this.
I don't care who you have to go through. Make it happen!
Understood.
Again, do not take this to mean I'm saying objectively this is a bad thing. It's a funny joke. It's a well-paced joke, and it's certainly played with my expectations, which I love when it comes to comedy. But at the same time, I can't help but feel disappointed at the amount of potential that this had. Now, I'm not holding against the episode obviously, since it still works, but if you guys had been paying attention to my channel in any capacity as of late, I'm a guy who likes it when the worlds and lore are expanded upon and make sense, and help introduce new concepts into the world. So this is just a preference. The episode is good, it brings up a lot of things to the table, but still has issues that I can't really help but bring up in this review. Of course, all that pales in comparison to the greatest part of this episode, Luna's new outfit.
No!
What the hell is this?
Is there anything we can do?
Yeah, no. No.
What? Don't you judge me. Half of you watching this are already probably going gaga over the fan art of her.
Baby, between the two of us in this relationship, I'm the only one who gets to simp Luna here. And why is that, you may ask, dear viewer? Well, it's because I'm the only one between the two of us who actually bought the Valentine's Day pin. Now get the fuck off my lawn, boy!
Jokes aside, I'm glad at this point I can say a majority of the episodes shown are good. Helluva Boss isn't perfect, and I don't think anyone can dispute that, especially when there's animation like this being made front and center. But it's a stretch to call the series as it is bad at this point, at least if you were to ask me. There are things you can like in every episode, or at least from my perspective, so I enjoy it. In any case, I'm MangaKamen, thanks for watching, and now I'm gonna toss the mic to someone special.
Back by unpopular demand. Hi, it's me. I'm the one who's going to be speaking and stuff today, so yeah. Alright, I'm just going to keep things short and sweet since Kamen and I have similar opinions to the episode based on its animation, structure, and themes that were presented to us when we were watching it together. But I also admit there's something about this episode that just keeps me from liking it more than I should, but I just can't put my finger on it. However, if there is something I'd like to quickly touch upon, it's Stolas. I wasn't sure if he was a main character or not at the beginning of the series, since I thought he was just a throwaway gag in the pilot in the first episode. But based on what we know now and how Stella will become a reoccurring villain in the series,
You're putting me through hell, Stella!
let's just say if this series didn't have me invested before, it definitely has my attention now. Also, if you want my thoughts on Stella as a villain, oh man, I am ready to see how far she goes to go and kill her husband. Not because I don't love Stolas, but just because if I've learned anything in life, it's that a crazy bitch will almost always win if you piss her off enough. Also, I just want to highlight the top tier animation that was done for the fight scene as well as the choreography. That was some good shit there, animators. Good job. And also, I'm loving the subtlety that is with Blitz and horses. Like, his love of horses is just absolutely adorable, and I love how it's been shown throughout the entire series. Up to this point, I just think it's cute, man. It's cute. And because I can, here is a mini advertisement that I got permission from Kamen to do for my campaign on Kickstarter. Because if he can make $1,000 just say "Ara Ara," then I don't think it's too much trouble ask for your time in order to advertise an enamel pin Kickstarter. The pins are based on 5-tailed baby kitsune who are also based on the 4 seasons. If anyone is interested, there is a link to the campaign in the description below, and it ends on May 31st, 2021. Alright, that's the end of the video. Here are the credits. Bye-bye.